Hey guys, welcome back to another video. And Shining Starforce is almost upon us, so I want to give you guys some quick tips so that you guys can maximize this event, because it's essentially a half-off event for Starforcing, and I want to make sure you guys do it right. So I'll get straight into it.
Okay,
21 is free, 22 is free.
No, please! Please! Oh my god!
Yes!
My first tip is Starcatch, Starcatch, Starcatch. Whether you're gonna use the new addition to the game, the enhancement altar, to do it automatically, or you want to do it manually at your favorite map, just make sure that the option is always on, because it can save you an additional 10 to 20%, and that really adds up in the long run. And I can show you guys the math right here using Suckhard's Starforce calculator, and you can see on this 140 item, it almost saves you 1.2 bill per item. And if you do 4 items, that's an additional item. Buy 4 get 1 free essentially. So make sure that it's such a simple mechanic, and if you have a guild that has this altar, use it. And if you don't, find a guild that has one, so you can really, it makes it so much simpler. And if you're in Hyperion and this doesn't exist, make sure to just do it manually. You may miss it, but in the long run, it's absolutely worth it. This event only lasts for a day, and the time you save is not really worth having to regather equipment and remake the mesos. Trust me. My second tip is ordering, and what I mean by that is that you should follow a step-by-step approach to slowly upgrade your items progressively, so you don't kind of gamble all your money away on one item. The first step that you should take is to make sure you get all your items to 16 stars first, especially as a new player. You don't want to go beyond that at that point, because you can't blow up your items in this event, and it's just a free start to go from 15 to 16. So get to that point first. Going from 16 to 17 star is the next step, and that's when you kind of have to start thinking of some backups. If you have a lot of backup items, especially for like CRA items, or you farm a lot of Connors Ring, just don't safeguard it, just go for it. You can save some money that way, and even if it blows up, you have the spare items to kind of get to 16 again quickly and attempt again. Going past 17 star is where you really have to start thinking about spares, fodders, and also the order of upgrading. I always recommend players to go for 21 CRA items first. You get plenty of spares by just doing weekly Chaos Rubit bosses, as you can see right here. It kind of becomes almost an endless supply, so no need to safeguard, just go straight for it, and it should be relatively cheap. Afterwards, I'll go for Hans Treasure, Maplestory, or Dominator. And the reason for that is because they're relatively cheap, being a lower level item, and they're good on their own when they're 21. The perk of that is once you get 1 to 21, you can eventually transfer it to a superior Gollux accessory, as you can see right here, and you'll go from 21 stars to 20 when you transfer from Hans Treasure to this. But it gets to 20 stars, which is a good checkpoint, because you can no longer go down from 20 to 19. Basically, what I'm saying is you get the Countess, Meisters, Dominators to 21, then you want to start another one to the same point, transfer to your superior accessories, and then you can go from there. And especially for the earrings and belts, you want to be doing reinforced belts. Pink Bing belts also works. Ion MESS Treasure also works for belts. And you want to have a bunch of reinforced earrings. Get those to 21 stars, then you transfer to Superior Gollux. The reason why you want to do that for Superior Gollux is you often don't get a lot of spares for that. The drop rate for that is extremely low, and when you blow up, you might just lose the items for months, so you want to really be careful with that. The reason why we transfer is just kind of avoid that middling process from going from 17 to 20, which you can really get stuck with RNG. tough question is that do we want to safeguard our Khan's treasure, dominator pendant, or other fodder items that will be used to transfer to superior Gollux? And that answer really depends on how much you have. And I'll show you guys on this kind of calculator right here. And as you see, no safeguard. But then you should expect around 7 boons for a 95 chance of succeeding. So my general rule of thumb is if you have less than 7 to start with, then I'll always safeguard. So you can kind of reduce that chance to almost a little less than half, but a good significant portion. And if you do have more than 7, you can save some money by not safeguarding. As you can see, the price does change by about 1 billion mesos for this is a 150 item, but generally fodder is a 140. But it's still a little under 1 billion meso for medium cost that you save. So it's a good way. It's a good rule of thumb. And that said, after foddering your superior Gollux items, they should be at 20 stars, and that's when you have to make a decision of keep going or don't keep going. So the general rule of thumb is if you have a backup, you can go for 21, just be completely safe, because there's about a 20% chance of you booing from attempting for 21 stars. So we don't want to risk that unless you have a backup and can redo the whole process again. After your 21 superior Gollux ring is when you should really start thinking about your slime ring, because there's actually a kind of tough decision, and also a lot of debate surrounding it. In my opinion, you should straight up tap a slime ring, because Gollux coins are extremely valuable and they'll be important for when you go for this item, Source of Suffering. You want to have fodder for that, and you don't want to waste it. Unless you have a lot of really spare coins and you finish your Gollux early, I would recommend you to get a normal ring to 17, keep that, continue to progress other facets of the game, and when you eventually can do Chaos Slime, whether you're in a 2 or 3 man party, you get consistent income of rings, that's when I kind of would go for 21 and 22 beyond for this Guardian Slime ring. And I kind of forgot to mention about shields and Twilight Mark. Personally, I would go for shields at around the same time you go for 21 CRA items. And for Twilight Mark, I'll do it at the same time after you fodder your superior Gollux to 20 stars. I'll take this to 21, or you can do it after you 21 your superior Gollux. Just like, before you go for 22s, you want to make sure your Twilight Mark is 21 stars. And going for 22 is absolutely optional on Twilight Mark because there's a pitch item that replaces it eventually, but it's up to you. If you have a lot of spares and have no particular use for it, it's good to always have a 21 Twilight Mark because it can eventually be drop gear, even if you hit a pitch boss drop. After it hit 20 or 21 star on your non-arcane items, is when you start thinking about starting your Arcane's passive. And again, you want backups for those, but there's a special way of starting Arcanes. How you should do it is you should start 1 star at a time and roulette. Basically, you start with the glove first always because it gives you the most damage. You start it. If it goes 18, you move on to the next item. If it doesn't, you keep trying until it hits 18 or it blows up. If it blows up, recover it, and get back to 18. You never move on until you get the next star. And the reason why we do this is because your money runs out rather rapidly when you're starting Arcanes, which is why we want to take advantage of Shining Starforcing. It's such a huge discount. But you don't want to run out of money and just be like, oh, just some items are still 17, you didn't get the gains, because each star is so valuable on Arcane. So this rouletting method is highly recommended. And just gaining like 2 stars on your Arcanes, you'll notice the damage like right away, and it can help you progress to your next content. Having 19 arcanes is more than sufficient. As 19 arcanes and 21 is more than sufficient to start Black Mage when we're around the 170 area, 270 area. So that's kind of the point that I would stop. So after you hit 19 star arcanes and all your other items are around the 21 range, is when I'll start to go for some 22s. And you always start with CRA because it's simple, have a lot of backups, get that there. And then Kana's Treasure or Meister Ring, because one or the other, but eventually you'll replace it with the Oz Ring. So it's fine to keep those at 21. And Superiors, you go for it when you have backups or not. When you have backups, you can go for it. And if you have to remake it, when you run out of backups, always stop at 20. So kind of rule of thumb. Don't try Gollux. Don't mess with Gollux. That's a big takeaway here. And if you have some pitch items, it's kind of at the point where I'll go for 22s to see your luck. The general rule of thumb is you never want to settle 21 pitch items because they're actually not that much better. They're alternatives. So it's just not worth it. After you gather a lot of backups for arcanes or all your other items are 22 is when I will try to go past 19. And you also just keep doing that roulette method where you go 1 star at a time. I messed up. You should always go for glove first. I messed up and went shoulder first, but glove will give you the most gains because it gives you the most attack. As you can see, this one gives 70. The ones give like 63, 60. So yeah, just slowly roulette it to 21. Generally 21 is a good place to stop because like I said earlier, to go from 21 to 22 is almost a double expected cost. So 21 is a good point to stop until basically after you finish liberating Black Mage, I think. And you only really need it for trying to get into Kaling. And those are really just attempted after you're liberated, so I wouldn't worry about that until after. Unless you're trying to solo Black Mage, then you need as much damage as you can. And my last tip is stay positive and don't feel too down if you didn't have a good event. We all have good events and bad events, and I've been through several Starforcing events. I left some events where I didn't make as much upgrades as I wanted, where I only hit 1 or 2 21 stars because I ran out of backups, I didn't have enough fodder, run out of money, so sometimes I was insufficiently prepared. But every event kind of serves as a lesson for the next. The events always come back around, so once you've been through one, you kind of have an expectations of kind of what you need. And my advice is for you is if you had a bad event, just stay diligent, stay consistent. Do your Princess Nose, Arcariums, all sorts of different ways of getting fodder, and set a goal for yourself to make a certain amount of maximals every week, staying consistent. And before you know it, you're gonna have like 50, 60, 70 bill, and you'll be ready for the next event to make significant strides. And especially for your arcanes, because each arcane costs about 20 billion maximals. Just keep that in mind. So on event, so yeah, you gotta be ready. And the event will come back around, and hopefully, if this didn't help you on this event, you help you on the next event and more future ones as well. And with that said, hope everybody had a good one, have a good event, and yeah, I'll see you on Maplestory if I see you. Peace. Oh yeah, just for a little bonus tip for people at the end, don't spend too much on cubes because they're bait. They don't give you as much power as Starforcing. Cube after you finish your Starforcing, and cube shell is bait. Keep that in mind. Peace.